Just a moment. Stick with this. Folks, if you're all part of the same group, sir, you're all part of the same group, you just sit in the back row. Sure.
Some of this drop.
That's increasing.
Thank you very much.
Which carrier did you go?
No.
Oh my God.
And I have a racket, that's about it. Yeah, I've only played once. He's just retired. I mean, he's been there a bunch of years. Rabbi Sass died young. I mean, he's been there something years. He's going to be there like a rabbi emeritus.
It's the oldest symbol of mourning in Judaism to tear and submit to the Lord. And it reminds us how our heart is torn. And if you would repeat the blessing after me, Baruch atah Adonai Dayan ha'emet. Blessed are you, eternal God, judge of truth.
gentlemen, as we begin our services, if we can please kindly turn off all cell phones or electronic devices, or please place them on silent. I'll ask that those who are speaking, when you step up to the microphone, please be sure to adjust the microphone for your height, and make sure you please speak directly into the microphone so everyone who's watching the live stream will be able to hear all the beautiful words being said. Thank you. I have learned that in times of separation and loss and sorrow, the Psalms can bring much comfort and solace. I now recite from the 23rd Psalm, this great Psalm of faith. And these words remind us that even when we feel alone or lonely, we are never truly alone, for God is with us. And we know that God is with Gail. If you're familiar, you may join with me. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of God forever. I would like to continue with a modern-day poem, which we read at our synagogue from time to time, but I would like to personalize it for Gail. At the rising of the sun and at its going down, we will remember Gail. At the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we will remember her. At the opening of the buds and in the rebirth of spring, we will remember Mama. At the blueness of the skies and in the warmth of summer, we will remember her. At the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we will remember Gail. At the beginning of the year and when it ends, we will remember her. As long as we live, she too will live, for she is now a part of us as we remember her. When we are weary and in need of strength, when we are lost and sick at heart, when we have joy we crave to share, when we have decisions that are difficult to make, when we have achievements that are based on hers, we will remember her. As long as we live, she too will live, for she is now a part of us, of all of us, as we remember her. We may not all know one another, although I think we do. And yet we all feel connected by our love, respect, and admiration for Gail, for your mama. Love is truly the word. To know Gail was and is to love her, and everyone did, and that is so apparent today. She had an impact on so many other people. Although Gail may not have fully realized just how much people liked her and appreciated her. That is why our shared loss it's very sad, it's difficult, it's profound, because Gail was such a constant and a nurturing presence in your lives. She was always there for you, her dear family, her many friends. Gail was always ready to offer assistance, to show care and concern. She placed the needs of others first. Indeed, the greatest joy in life is to be able to say, I still have something to do. I want to accomplish yet more. And so she did. Gail was a teacher in the best and most noble sense of the word. She taught high school English and then college English at Camden County College. Her colleagues respected her. Her students adored her. Gail loved to read. She had a thirst for knowledge, and she always wanted to learn more. And she could be counted on for a very good book recommendation. She was always pushing a book. She was so very smart, she was independent, she was strong, she was thoughtful. We realize now how much Gail taught us in terms of her giving and caring and loving. I believe that Gail might say to all of us right now, well, first she would say thank you for being here to help tell my story, because she was very gracious. And then she might go on to say, don't mourn for me, for I did not lead a mournful life. And you know, in the balance, she certainly did not. Gail had an active, vibrant, vital, purposeful, and good life. She was interested in everything and everyone. She never missed an opportunity to send a gift, to celebrate Simcha, and just to be present. That really says so much, just to be present. Gail had many interests and passions. She loved knitting, right? Needlepoint. Played piano. Loved running and working out. I know that we were in spin class together. She lived a healthy lifestyle. She was a healthy eater. She never had a hot dog in her life. Right? Maybe once. Maybe there's a ball game somewhere in there. I don't know. Maybe. Okay. Gail's heart and her home were always open and welcoming and accepting. She, together with Bill, created the kind of home where just everyone wanted to gather. I'd like to quote from one of Adam's friends who said, "Your mom was a big part of my childhood. She was always there, and she always welcomed me, and she fed me, and never judged me and always made me feel welcome. Most of all, Gail loved you, her dear family. And she would do anything and everything for you, and you for her. However, one cannot speak of Gail alone without also speaking of you, Bill. Her devoted and loving husband of 56 years. You first met on June 12, 1965 at a hero dance at Penn State. It was Gail's first week of college, and then you went out for dinner, and then you went out for dinner for 70 consecutive days. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
I got that right. I know, I couldn't believe it either. Okay. Well, so obviously it was love at first sight. And over your many years, you evolved into a real team, a true partnership, best friends, soulmates. I can't even begin to imagine how much you will miss your life's partner. And how Gail loved you, her children, David and Kim and Adam and Tara and Rachel and Greg. Your mom instilled in you a passion for the arts. She took you to Broadway shows, concerts, and I know that your mom had a special bond with you, Rachel. And she especially wanted you to have a very good, happy, full, and fulfilling life. And you told me that all of your friends adored your mom as well. She was like everyone's mom. And the grandkids, Sydney, Zoe, Harper, and Alex, loved their mama. They're probably listening right now. And I know Sydney is the oldest. She's 13. And Mom had a very special relationship with you. So Gail created, you may not know this, but Gail created these elaborate educational experiences for her kids and grandkids. And she will be lovingly remembered for her stage shows, which included making the tickets, buying the prizes, singing the songs, marching around the house. And it was so much fun, I assume, but it also you were learning at the same time. Gail is also survived by and will be profoundly missed by her dear brother Howard and your wife Lena and your family as well. I know how proud your mom was of you. She was proud of your accomplishments, but she was prouder yet of the bright, sensitive, and caring family that you are. And she felt your constant support, care, concern, and love. I think Gail might have mentioned that, even to me, that she was not overly religious, but in a sense she was. She certainly was spiritual. And she carried out in her lifetime the Jewish ideal of tzedakah, which some people translate as charity, but it's really righteousness. She carried out righteousness. She was involved in our Jewish community, with the JCC, with JFCS, and really so much more. 6 years ago, Gail was diagnosed with autoimmune disease. Her disease limited her and in many ways changed her. And her condition grew progressively worse. And Gail died too soon, too young. But she died knowing that she helped to raise and guide and teach and inspire, along with Bill, children and grandchildren who in turn have so much to offer to others. You are her precious legacy. As many of you know, this is a very sacred time of the Jewish calendar. It's Sefirah, it's counting. We count the 50 days between Pesach and Shavuot. Shavuot being the 50th day. Today is day number 29 in our counting, but Gail did far more than just count off her days. She really made her days count, and she will be profoundly missed. She loved and was loved in turn, and we know that this love has not ended now with her passing. Her bright light can never, ever be fully extinguished. For as long as we live, she too will live, for she is now a part of us as we remember her. And to continue those memories, I'm going to first call on Rose Bergman.
Before I begin, I just want to say two things. As some of you may know, I'm a big crybaby. Many of you have witnessed it, and many of you have not. The second thing is, I'm not here to mourn Gail. I'm here to celebrate her and Gail's life. As most of you know, I am Gail. I am Rose Bergman. Gail and I have been friends for 39 years. We met through our sons, Adam and Scott. They met in 2nd grade. We had moved to Cherry Hill the prior year. Adam and Scott became best fast friends. Gail and I were room mothers together, and that's how our friendship began. There are so many words to describe Gail. She was smart, kind, accomplished at whatever she did. She played the piano beautifully. Her needle points and her knitting were amazing. She loved playing golf and loved working out, so much so she became certified. She would always say to me, "Why aren't you at the gym?" And I would always say, "Because I don't want to go." Gail was a dedicated teacher. She was actually Teacher of the Year. Kind and Gail were synonymous. Gail always did the right thing, sending notes or getting gifts for people she hardly knew. Many years ago, her dear friend Bobby Grossman had a girlfriend's luncheon. Her friends were to invite their dear friends, and Gail chose me. I even have a picture from that day. What a wonderful afternoon. We were more than friends, we were families. Vacations together and holiday dinners at my house with my family that soon became theirs. We all know how apologetic Gail always was. I would say to her, "Stop apologizing." And she would say to me, "You're right." and then kept on apologizing. Through sickness and health, good times and bad, we were always there for each other. David, Kim, Adam, Tara, Rachel, and the grandchildren, she felt it for you. Cindy, Zoe, don't ever forget the Lola show. Harper, Alex, how she loved playing games with you. At the end of all our phone conversations, Gail would say to me, "Love you, darling." And I would say, "Love you too." Well, now I'm going to end with, Gail, I love you, darling.
I'd like to call on cousin Susan Michaels.
Almost 40 years ago, Gail and I became cousins by marriage. She and my husband Hal are first cousins, and she immediately became mine as well. But over the years, she became much more than a cousin. She was a sister I never had, and most importantly, became my true friend. Her incredibly giving heart was apparent in so much of what she did. When my daughter Jamie graduated high school, she only wanted to take her on a shopping spree at Andrea's boutique. When I turned 50, she took me to Canyon Ranch, where she, Rachel, and I spent 3 glorious days. I think she single-handedly kept Hallmark in business by never forgetting to send a card for whatever occasion there might be. Even when most of us resorted to text messages or emails to acknowledge a birthday or anniversary, I knew there would always be a card from Gail and Bill in my mailbox. Over the last 40 years, we shared family vacations together in Aruba, a trip to Israel, shopping trips to Edith where we would meet, shop, and then have lunch. It didn't matter that we lived on opposite sides of a river. We always found a way to connect. Summers at the shore included those periodic Sunday brunches at the Shanes, or long walks down to Longport together, stopping in Ozzy's now and then for breakfast. Gail was not a beach person, but if she knew that I was on the beach, she'd make it a point to come, at least for a little while. She'd sit with me and my friends who came to know her over the years. When I shared the news of her passing with them, I know they too felt the pain of our loss. Her generosity was unmatched by most. She showered her children and grandchildren with gifts and always felt that she couldn't do enough for them. For the past 5 years, she endured constant pain that most of us could not even imagine. But I think what truly hurt her the most was the anguish of no longer being able to do all that she wanted and hoped to do for her family. Sitting on the sidelines was never something she did well. As Hal and I navigated through some health challenges with my in-laws this past year, she repeatedly apologized for not being able to help us in some way. But that was Gail, always wanting to help. I think what I treasured most about my relationship with her was that we could share the intimate details of our lives. We stood with each other through the highs and lows. We shared our problems, and I always knew I could vent to her and then get the calming advice I needed to hear. She was practical, no bullshit, and said it like it was. I, like so many of us, I'm sure, are struggling with the thought that perhaps we could have done more over these last few years. But the truth of it is, She would never have allowed us to. Her joy was to give and not to receive. And so my cousin, my friend, my sister, I can only find comfort in the thought that you are no longer in pain and that you no longer have to endure any treatments that never brought you any relief. That you will watch over us and once again be able to take care of those you love, only now from a much different place. As we always ended our calls to each other, I love you dearly. Rest in peace, my sister.
I would like to call on Andrea.
Hi. Susan, that was summed it up just beautifully about Gail. And I feel her absence. I want her here. I want to see her, and I want to speak to her. My wants right now are beside the point. But they highlight for me a simple truth about Gail. If you were her friend, and if you were with her, you were wanting nothing but to be with her all the time. For the past 25 years, I had the privilege of having Gail Shane as my friend, my best friend. She came over to my home to buy clothes, and from that moment on, our friendship began. She loved to work out, but I didn't. She always ate healthy, but I didn't. She was an avid reader, I wasn't. But she would get her pad of paper out every time and write a list of all the books that I should be reading. She always looked perfect. We loved Broadway shows and playing golf together. We learned together and played golf with so much fun. She loved her family and her friends. Her friendship grew as we navigated around life. And one of us would always have great advice for anything we encountered. She was my biggest cheerleader, and laughing was on our top priority. Gail was beyond generous. She was generous with her time. She was generous with her home. She was generous with her knowledge. Gail, you're loved and will be sorely missed. Rest in peace, my sister.
Rachel, I'm calling you.
I would like to thank all the friends, family, and relatives who came today, even those who traveled. Even those who traveled a long way to help us celebrate the life of my mom. I also would like to thank Greg and his family for coming here to support me. My mom always wanted me to have a better life. I used to come home from high school, sit on the couch, and watch General Hospital on television every day. That was my life after school. But in spite of my learning disability, Mom wanted more for me. We looked at different high schools, and she encouraged me to go away to boarding school in upstate New York. In the beginning, I did not want to go. I grew to enjoy it and became captain of the field hockey team, prom queen, and I made a lot of great friends, which I would have never had if I'd stayed in Cherry Hill. In the summer, when I went away to camp, Mom used to send clothes to my bunk all the time, and all my friends always commented on what great taste she had. Camp was one of the best times in my life. After that, Mom supported me to stay in New York and attend NYIT for college. During college, 1 year after my birthday, Mom gave me the gift of a wonderful Shih Tzu named Casey, whom I loved very much. Mom would even drive 3 hours in her car by herself with Casey on her lap to come visit me when I lived in my condo in Long Island. New York City was also a very special place for me and my mom. One thing we loved doing together with friends and family was going to see a lot of Broadway shows. Some of our favorites were, especially hers, A Chorus Line, Wicked, and Footloose. Another great memory I have is going to see Idina Menzel in concert. One memorable show with Mom was at the Mann Music Center in Philadelphia. Another great memory I have is when we would always go to Canyon Ranch. That was our place. From hiking to getting a massage to just sitting in the hot tub and having great dinners. Canyon Ranch was one of my favorite vacation spots with Mom. My mom always took care of me no matter what. She would go out of her way and just come over with things from Target or the grocery store just to help me if I didn't need anything. It's really hard for me to accept that she is gone. I am angry and feel that she gave up on me when she died. Part of me just wants to go yell and scream. But I love her very much with all my heart, and my heart is beyond sad. She left me way too soon. I do want this to be a celebration of my mother's life. She was more than just a mother to me. She was a friend. And that is just as important. That's how I want to remember her. I will love you always, Mom.
I'm going to call on Adam.
Just want to say thank you to the rabbi, to Rose, to Susan, Andrea. Spoke very beautifully. To my sister. If what you just witnessed doesn't show what my mom is capable of, then you did not know my mom. Because that's pretty incredible. And we're all very proud of that. Here we are. We all knew we would be here, just not right now. Not right now. If I know my mom, she would say, "Why is everyone making such a fuss over this? Get on with your lives. Don't worry about me. I'll be okay. What is all this fuss for?" That was pretty much her in a nutshell. It's as simple as that. None of us will ever truly understand it, but that's just who she was. She did not want to be a burden, no matter how many times any of us told her she wasn't. And there was nothing any of us could do up until the day she left this earth to actually prove to her that she wasn't a burden. The best way to truly describe my mom is to say that she was a very dynamic person. Dynamic in the sense that she was fiercely smart. Dynamic in the sense that she was tough as nails, just like her dad. Even if she didn't want to share any qualities with her father, she certainly shared that one. If you wanted to tussle with my mom, you better be prepared to dig in for a dogfight, and you better have some stamina. Dynamic also in the sense that she was altruistic, truly living her life for others, but going about it in a way that was unique to her. Mom was never someone that gave you a sense that she needed anything. In fact, God forbid she asked anyone for help. I think that's something maybe we all can learn from my mom, especially my family, that it's okay to ask for help. We all need some help sometimes. There's no shame in asking for it, and it's a lesson I'll carry with me going forward. If you were taken care of, if you were okay, then my mom was content. I would even dare say she was happy. I know she was at her absolute happiest with a house full of kids, teenagers, young adults, a lot of noise, grandkids, and just people enjoying her home as a safe space. A place where you could come have a meal, sleep over if you needed a bed, and just be safe. Our house was always stocked full of food and a fresh bed made for any one of my million friends who inevitably stayed over. And maybe that's the best way for all of us to pay tribute to my mom. To tell her that the home, or homes, plural, she worked tirelessly throughout her life to build and create, were in fact safe spaces for people. Something that perhaps she did not have when she was growing up, and honestly something she was terrified throughout her entire life that she would never create for her family. But she did. You did it, Mom. And she died perhaps not knowing it because, at least I honestly never told her. But I don't feel regret or remorse about not telling her because my mom understood me and I understood her. Because in many ways I was just like her and she knew it. She allowed me and the rest of her children to vent, which for a few years in high school saying vent is putting it nicely. But she gave us our space to become men and women, and she never stood in our way. Because we understood one another, and she knew we'd be okay. My mom never fully got enough credit. She was the wizard behind the curtain for our family, and we needed her. And I do believe in my heart that she knew that, even if we didn't tell her every day. My mom truly loved her family. Her devoted husband of over 50 years. We met freshman year at Penn State and were literally side by side for the rest of her life. They were partners in every sense of the word. My mom was responsible for raising 3 kids, taking care of a house, and she had an 8-year difference from her first child to her last. It was a ton of work, and that was not easy, far from it. I know that now more than ever. I could never have done what she did in maintaining her house, and I admire her for that. To have a 12-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 4-year-old in the house must have been chaos, and it was. And to give each child her undivided attention, it was an impossible task. And we never gave her enough credit, but she didn't ask for credit, and frankly, she didn't expect any. She did what she had to do, even if she did it in her own perfect way. She loved her children, my brother David, her first child, my sister Rachel, her beautiful daughter and best friend in the world. She loved you both so much, so much. She loved her grandchildren, Sydney, Zoe, Harper, Alex. She loved her nieces and nephews and our extended family. And all she wanted was for us to have a better life than she had. And we did, because she gave it to us. I know my mom held on as long as she possibly could over the last few years, even under the harshest of circumstances. Circumstances that none of us could possibly ever understand. Like I said, my mom was tough as nails. And she battled as long and as hard as she could. We didn't give her enough credit for fighting so hard. And it's okay, because like I said, she didn't expect any credit, and she didn't want any. But she can finally rest now. She won the fight. She didn't lose. She won, because she can finally be at peace. And we got it from here, Mom, because it's going to be okay. Because we're all going to be okay. Love you.
I would like to include this poem. I'd like to read it as if Gail was responding to the magnificent words spoken here today. I think it's what she would say. Don't grieve for me, for now I'm free. I'm following the path God laid for me. I took God's hand when I heard God call. I turned my back and I left it all. I could not stay another day to laugh, to love, to work or play. Task left undone must stay that way. I found that place at the close of day. If my parting has left a void, then fill it with remembered joy. A friendship shared, a laugh, a kiss. Ah, yes, these things I too will miss. Be not burdened with times of sorrow. I wish you the sunshine of tomorrow. My life's been full, I savored much. Good friends, good times, a loved one's touch. Perhaps my time seemed all too brief. Don't lengthen it now with undue grief. Lift up your heart and share with me. God wanted me now. God set me free. Let us all rise. The El Mole Rachamim prayer, which includes Gail's Hebrew Yiddish name, Gittel. El Mole Rachamim Shochein Bam Romim Chametzei V'Nukanachona Tachat Kanfei Hashchina L'Nishmat Gittel Shechalacha L'Olama Ba'al Harachamim Yitzra B'Yitzra HaChaim Et Nishmata Adonai Hu Nachalata V'Tanua V'Shalom Al Mishkava V'Nomar Amen. O God, full of compassion, thou who dwellest on high, grant perfect rest unto the soul of our beloved Gail Gittel, who has departed from this world. Lord of mercy, bring her into your presence, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of eternal life. Be thou her possession, and may she rest in peace. Amen. And we are going to conclude with the Kaddish prayer, which is actually a praise of God, as we thank God for the years shared and the life we have known. Yid Gadol, Yid Kadash, Shemei Rabbah, B'yomah Divra Chivutei, V'yamlich Malchutei, V'chayei Kon, V'yomei Kon, V'chayei Dechol Beit Yisrael, V'agalav Zman Kariv, V'yimru, Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah Mevorach Le'olam Ulamei Omaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach, yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, yitadar v'yitaleh, yitalal shemei d'kutsha v'rechu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata da'amiran v'yama v'yimru, amen. Yehei shaloma rabba min shemaya v'chayim, aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimru, amen. Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'Yamru Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort all the bereaved among us. Amen. And you may be seated for a few moments. I have been asked to announce the following. Following this service, family and friends are invited to the Shane home, 54 Matlack Drive in Voorhees. The family also asked that I announce that they will be receiving all visitors in their home, and they request that you be fully vaccinated with your visit. Thank you. Also, there is a burial ceremony at Locustwood Memorial Park this Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. And I know at the home, many of you want to share your own sacred stories and memories of Gail. Thank you. There are directions to the Shane home in the lobby area that you could pick up on your way out. Oh yes, also instructions how to enter Centennial Mill. The code. The code word.
Pallbearers, please step to the center aisle. And I'll ask that you rise once more, please.
Pallbearers to step into the lobby, please.
Can you be seated, please? Ladies and gentlemen, the directions to the house are on the podium when you leave the chapel. I'm going to ask people when they step into the lobby to please continue through the lobby to outdoors. You're welcome to gather there and talk with your life. We want to make sure people are not to clump together in the lobby. We want to make sure also people have a chance to walk out of the chapel and be able to get to their cars. And people in this row begin to get to their cars, please.
Are you good tomorrow? Yeah.
Tomorrow, yeah, I saw, yeah, tomorrow's good. I got something on Tuesday. Tomorrow's good.
Be well, guys. I'm not that comfortable.